Welcome back. I'm Gemma Tognini, filling in tonight for Rita Panahi. Well, most of us who live in or near a city, even a decent regional country town, can take a lot for granted, like having things close by, shops, doctors and schools, for example. But what about the Australian families who live in really remote areas, the outback that makes this country famous? Families in the bush are calling on the government to increase funding to help cover the cost of education for kids living in extremely remote areas. Recent data shows that the majority of parents are out of pocket more than $20,000 each per child as the gap between funding and the cost continues to widen. Joining me now from her station out the back of South Australia is Gillian Fennell. Gillian, welcome and Merry Christmas. How are you going?
I'm good, thanks, Gemma. How are you? And Merry Christmas to you and all your viewers who might be watching this.
I'm very well. I'm dealing with the vagaries of Sydney weather this week, but I noticed that you're coming to me from the schoolroom at your station, which is pretty apt given the topic of our conversation. Most of us would have at least a little bit of idea about remote schooling, but can you give us a little bit of a reality check about what that actually looks like for you and just remind our viewers who may not have been with us last week how far you are from the nearest town and how big your property is?
So we've got a property that's about 1 million acres, and our closest town of any size is Alice Springs, which is a 5-hour drive away. Our nearest capital city is 1,100 kilometres away, which is a massive drive. And, we're pretty isolated, pretty remote. But now I've got access to high-speed internet. I can speak to everyone across Australia right now.
So you're homeschooling, obviously. That looks like a pretty sophisticated schoolroom, by the way. I know last week we laughed about having to tidy it up a bit, but you're running 1 million acres. Your people like you and families like you are feeding people like me. I always like to say, if you're going to criticise a farmer, don't do it with food in your mouth, that's for sure. So you're running a farm like that, or not even a farm, but a property like that, but you're also having to school your kids. I mean, how important is this allowance for families like yours?
It's incredibly important, and I really would like to highlight the fact as well as it's not just farming families who need this support, but if you want to come and visit the outback and you want someone in a shop to serve you, or if you want to have access to a medical clinic, or if you want to have any services at all in the outback where you love to visit, and we love to welcome you here because we love to share our remoteness and our special country with you. You know, we need people to come and live and work in these areas, and they have families and they need support to have a proper education. And it's a mandated education. Kids have to be at school these days for a certain length of time. It's compulsory. We can't just pull our kids out and send them to work on the farm like we used to in the old days. It's disappointingly for a lot of people because our kids are really capable and skilled, but we need this support. And it's for everyone who lives in a remote area and doesn't have access to secondary education. And
that's such a good point. It's not just the people on the land, it's the people who might have the nearest truck stop, for example, the nearest, the doctor who's at the nearest medical centre because it might not be a hospital. I mean, just for a point of reference, how close is the nearest high school to you guys?
So there is a high school at Cooper PD, which is about 3 hours away. Which is definitely too far to commute back and forth every day. And as far as I'm aware, that high school only goes to grade 10 anyway. Right. So if you want to complete 11 and 12, you still need to go either to a major regional centre or further on to Adelaide to a high school there.
Well, let's hope the new year brings some welcome news in that regard. Before I let you go, though, Gillian Fennell, what is a bush Christmas like for you guys out the back of South Australia on 1 million acres?
A bush Christmas is going to be a lot of relaxing. It's going to be a lot of staying cool, although we have been blessed with some magnificent weather just recently.
Okay.
And we might take a cheeky swim in the dam, which is full from the recent rain, and basically just eating a lot of Australian ham and seafood and a lot of great food that's been produced by a lot of great farmers across Australia.
Well, wishing you and yours a wonderful and safe Christmas. Thanks for making time to chat to us tonight, Gillian Fennell. Thank you so much.
Any time for you, Gemma. Thank you very much.
That's Gillian Fennell, Australia's favourite station mum. And if you're like me and a little bit bonkers enough to be on X, the platform formerly known as Twitter, you should follow Gillian Fennell for an utterly captivating and wholesome and unfiltered view of Australian station life.